Welcome to Finding Forgiveness, a family fairy tale podcast. Join host Susan Gibson as she summons the courage to ask the hard questions, probes deep, dark secrets, and attempts to fill in the gaps while exploring the relationship between her and her mother. Discover the magic of self-discovery, relationship exploration, and the profound journey of forgiveness. Now, your host, Susan Gibson.
Have you ever wondered how we can heal our wounds that have been inflicted on us by others? Now, whether that wound was intentionally inflicted on you by your mother or a mother figure, that's where we have to start. Whether you have a Disney fairy tale mother or a Grimm Brothers fairy tale mother or someone in between, we all have experienced a split with our mother. Whether she was nurturing and always there for you or absent emotionally or physically, we all need to come to terms that the split is inevitable. Taking a phrase or a quote from a book by Adrienne Rich called A Woman Born, she says, most of us first know both love and disappointment, power and tenderness in the person of a woman. And that woman is our mother. And again, whether it's your birth mother or a mother figure, we experience the ups and the downs with that mother figure. And that inflicts wounds in us. And we have to figure out how we can heal this split with the mother in order to heal ourselves. And so first of all, we have to acknowledge that the split has occurred. And, my story, which I've shared with you throughout my podcast, is a very obvious split with my mother, if you will. Her act of abandonment to me, the trauma she experienced as a young mother before I was born, ending in the death of my brother just hours after he was born. All of these experiences that she felt and the feelings that she suppressed as a result of that experience, created a split in us from the start. And that split kind of culminated, if you will, when she abandoned me as a young woman, teenage young woman coming into womanhood and into my early 20s. And that acknowledgement of the split has taken me a long time to actually come to terms with that split. I went through a lot of different experiences and feelings throughout all those years from my early 20s until I turned 50 and beyond, quite frankly. But to kind of make sense of the world because of the wound that had been inflicted on me, on my emotional being. By my mother. And that acknowledgement is key to finding our path to wholeness. So whatever that split looks like for you, don't be afraid to go into the depths, to plunge into the depths, to fully understand what that split looks like, feels like, sounds like, to you as that relationship between you and your mother figure. Incredibly important to understand that, and that it's inevitable that the split is going to come. That's it happens throughout the natural world. The species on Earth and humans are no different. That split occurs and is quite profound with the mother itself. So acknowledging it is the first thing. And I would say I have acknowledged it in different periods throughout my life, and I am still acknowledging it and coming to terms with what that split actually means to me. And then, as you've heard me describe, there was the split of her dying, and she is no more there. She is no more, and so there's only the healing that can come from within me to move myself forward into wholeness by acknowledging that split and the far-reaching impact that it's had on my life. The second is don't go it alone. In order for us to reclaim our feminine, and you've heard me talk about this if you've listened to past podcast episodes, that the feminine and masculine are in every one of us, regardless of how we identify as a gender, male or female. That's not what I'm talking about here. There's a masculine and feminine inside each one of us. And in order to reclaim the feminine inside of us, we need a community around us. We cannot go it alone. That actually is part of the feminine energy, is to get that nurturing and support of the world around us. Right. And I know some of the kind of steps and actions I took, and quite frankly, they weren't all intentional on my part, but kind of found myself in when I was going through enormous amounts of transformation at the age of 50, and found myself just surrounded by incredible feminine energy, some in the form of females, some in the form of males. And like I say, however you identify, male or female as a gender, and exhibiting these this strong feminine energy. And that was such an important step in my healing, the split with my mother. And like I say, it wasn't necessarily intentional. Kind of found my way into these communities of women and surrounded myself with that feminine energy, even from incredible, extraordinary male allies as well. That was soothing for me. It was healing for me. It was nurturing for me. And one of the really remarkable memories that I have from that time, and this was in 2013. So I had started this incredible transformation of myself inside and outside in 2012. Kind of embracing discernment around who was giving me energy and who was taking my energy and not helping me to replenish, going through all these things, looking at my fantasies and what were healthy fantasies and what were distractions for me. And, what were those kind of daily distractions, cyclical distractions that I was engaged in, that was kind of removing my energy, right? It wasn't replenishing it and making some intentional choices about what to do, about the people I was surrounding myself with, as well as the task and work that I was doing. Was it energizing me or was it not? And making some very intentional decisions about what to do with that. And so, one of the things that I entered into, I went to a leadership workshop, if you will, kind of the multi-day workshop called Foundations of Leadership. And in that, they, the facilitators paired us off, and I was paired with this really lovely woman. Her name is Anne, and I just appreciated her insight enormously. And that's what we were there to be, kind of the observers and the kind of feedback, what we were gathering from our pair. And we happened to be on a break, and we'd gone into the washroom together, and we were very energized about the work that we were doing together, and just the possibilities and our potential that was being opened up for us. And she said, "Oh, you must really be missing your children." And I said, "Oh, I don't have any children. I don't have any children." She said, "Well, you're birthing something." And I'll never forget that, because that is that transformation in me, that nurturing energy was just coming out so strong in me. And I revel in that now. And there were other activities and events that I was getting deeply engaged in. One was being created by a very, very dear friend of mine who I met at this particular point in my life. And she had created this just amazing networking event for women called Urban Campfire. And, I was invited to be part of it. And, I got to tell pieces of my story in all of these urban campfire events. And here I was, surrounded by 500 plus women. Just the energy was palpable. And that feminine energy was just absolutely amazing, that I found myself surrounded in. And I just got so much of a lift from that community that was there. I had not experienced anything like that before in my life. And at that scale, for sure, it just absolutely took my breath away and swept me. Like I say, not everything I was doing at that time was intentional. This absolutely swept me further into my transformation, in just an absolute remarkable experience. And the creator Melody and I have remained just deep, deep, dear friends, lifelong friends, based upon the initial experience together. It was transformative for both of us. And through her, I met another woman who I would never have come into contact with in my kind of normal, quote unquote, life. She was creating an event for young girls entering into puberty. And it was called G-Day for Girls, and it was a celebration of menstruation, basically. And what an amazing experience that I was part of this. And I kind of became the grandmother of the cause, if you will. And just absolutely reveled in that persona that I held for that. And this experience, when I first met the creator of this event, her name is Madeline. She's just an amazing person out there in the world. She had us all go through a visualization exercise about our first experience with menstruation. And I was brought back to that specific time in my life, and I just sobbed. Goodness, it brought up so many feelings and experiences and memories that kind of all had contributed to this split with my mother. The split was well in progress throughout all those years of my life, and culminated in the actual abandonment in my mid-teens to early 20s, and then the work I've done with my mother to bring us back together again, and finding that forgiveness with her. But I had never experienced that. Of course, I grew up as a little girl and had, lots of girlfriends and around me throughout different stages of my life. And I still do. I still have a childhood best friend, Darla, out there in the world. And, just a remarkable friendship, love and support and nurturing from that relationship as well. I had never been so immersed in so many young girls kind of poised for puberty and an amazing energy, and that we were celebrating this moment in a girl's life. Okay. It was not to be whispered about or embarrassed about or, made fun of or anything like that. It was a natural part of the world and the world that we live in. And it allows us to create new life in our bodies. It's a pretty remarkable cycle of womanhood. And so that don't go it alone. Find those people out there. Immerse yourself in communities that you may never have found yourself in before. Look for your allies, the male and female allies that are out there, because I have 3 amazing male allies in my life who have such feminine energy that have given me such love and support and nurturing that throughout my whole experience with each one of them, it only grows deeper and more nurturing as time goes on. And, that's my father, my very dear cousin, Gary, and my just amazing life partner, Siraj. And they are very comfortable with their feminine energy that they have. And to be wrapped in that feminine energy embrace is just absolutely healing. It's healing. And that's what we need, is to find that community that will help us heal the split with the mother. Right? And this helps us to connect with the natural rhythm of the world around us. That's that feminine energy. And that's what the mother represents to us, is the natural world. And whether your mother gave you kind of the secrets of the natural world or not, that mother figure of Mother Earth, that's why we call it Mother Earth, is super important to kind of hone your intuition and allow yourself to be embraced, immersed in the natural cycles of the world. Now, sometimes our daily life doesn't allow us to do that. The constraints of work and family and, community, social norms, whatever that is kind of preventing you. But find a way to connect with nature, because nature has a beautiful rhythm that we all need to embrace. It heals us like nothing else will. It heals us like nothing else will. And, one thing that, I grew up in a rural community in northern Maine, so the natural world was just, literally outside my door. But I didn't lose touch with it. I can't say that. But it did lose its importance in a way, and I became very involved and engrossed in my career. And my trying to make sense of my wounds, and going through the cycles, unnatural cycles of caffeine and alcohol. Okay, I was no longer hearing the natural world, even though I was surrounded by it. I've always gotten a lot of energy from the natural world. Absolutely. When I started this transformation, and I turned 50, 12 years ago now, I really started to hone in on the natural world. And one thing that I do have a ritual around the natural cycle of the solstice and equinox. And I do a cleanse. It's about a 10-day cleanse. And it just helps me kind of clear my internal self. You know, it just makes me feel refreshed and ready for the next few months coming my way. And it's a ritual I just hold very dear to my existence, and it helps me to be very much in tune with my inner self, my inner nature, by doing this cleanse. So if that's helpful to you, do that or find your own ritual. You may have one that you partake of to this day, and to keep you in touch with your natural self. You know, I no longer have other natural cycles. I went through menopause when I was 49, so I no longer have, menstruation cycles or anything like that. But I have always also felt very connected to the moon and the waxing and waning of the moon, and the power that the moon holds as well. And so a few things there that, I've kind of embraced in my life to keep me in tune and remind myself of the importance of those natural cycles. And then when you start looking around and, really, goodness, understanding that that acknowledgement of the split, you do need a guide. And they're going to show up in remarkable ways. And my guide is my grandmother, my mother's mother, my Grammy. And she showed up for me in my early 20s when was contemplating. Actually, she was the catalyst for me to reconnect with my mother after those years of abandonment. She was my first memory of actually understanding and learning about the natural world around me as a small child. I spent a lot of time with her out in the country on our family's homestead in northern Maine. And, she had died many years ago now. But when I was getting into this transformation, like I say, some of it was intentional. Some of it just kind of took on a life of its own around me, inside of me, swirling into just amazing places for me. And she started to appear to me as an owl. And, Owl World has many gifts that the owl brings to us. They're known for wisdom and things like that. But one thing is that they're neutral, and they will help you to see what's giving you energy and what is taking energy from you. They have this incredible sight, a gift of sight, and they help you to literally open your eyes to what's going on around you without judgment, without advice. They're there. And my Grammy shows up as an owl to me on many occasions, especially when I need her the most, in my dreams or in my meditative visions. And or when I need her and I call for her, and she'll show up at some unexpected time as my guide. And we need to open ourselves up to the guide. It may be someone in their physical form. However, it may also be somebody in a more spiritual form, and be open to that and open to their energy that they're imparting on you. And whether it's an owl or some other form that they take, we have to honor our guide and realize the important role that they have in our life. And she's been instrumental in me healing that split with my mother. Instrumental. And continues to be with me to this day. And then finally, we have to reclaim our full feminine power. And like I say, whether you're male or female, this is about the energy within us. And for me, that's taken the form of forgiveness. And forgiving my mother was an incredible step of healing the split with her. But it continues to this day. Forgiving myself was an incredible step towards my healing that continues to this day. We've got to really look deep inside of us for that act of forgiveness. Without judging, right? With our senses all acutely aware, to allow ourselves to feel the dark feelings that will come. If you haven't gone into the depths yet and plunged into the depths, you've got to allow yourself to do that, because you will come through stronger. And that reemergence, that rebirth, is what connects us to the feminine and will help us to heal the split with the mother. And my mother shows up for me as an eagle, as she's still with me, even though she has left the physical form on this earth. I miss her terribly, but she does appear to me as an eagle, and an eagle has many gifts that they give us as well. They have the ability to see the small mouse in the field, or notice the small mouse in the field, through sight and sound, as well as across the mountaintops. They're inspiring. They're courageous. And that's my mother. She is inspiring. She inspires me all the time. Some in very small ways. One thing that I do as a very ordinary act that gives me great pleasure and grounds me is clean. I love to clean. And she shows up for me when I'm cleaning, and she shows up for me in the big times when I need her the most. And a strong message that the eagle brings is that we are not here to suffer or struggle. And what I love about my mother appearing to me as an eagle is because she experienced so much pain and suffering, physically and emotionally, in her life. And that she is now soaring above the mountains, in the clouds, still very aware of what's going on with the mouse in the field. That ability to be able to live in both those worlds gives me incredible comfort. And knowing that she's there for me when I need her the most is healing my split with her. I don't know that it will ever be fully healed. However, I am soaring with her when she shows up for me, and it's when I need her the most that my mother, the eagle, is right there beside me, or giving me flight astride her back, or just sitting there quietly, eye to eye. Yeah, eye to eye. Just strong energy coming from her. And so what is a message for all of this? before you journey forth beyond your body, make sure you are safe, healthy, and grounded, and can find your way back to regular life with ease. And that's my mother. Hello, Mom. I love you. Have you started your healing of your split with your mother or that mother figure? I'd love to hear from you. You can email me at hellosusan@findingforgivenesspodcast.com. Thank you for being with me today and listening to my podcast, Finding Forgiveness, a Family Fairy Tale. I welcome your comments. A big thank you to the team at Produce Your Podcast for helping me share my family fairy tale. Until next time, I'm Susan Gibson, signing off with gratitude and appreciation.
Thank you for listening to Finding Forgiveness, a family fairy tale podcast. To continue the conversation, visit findingforgivenesspodcast.com and send an email to hellosusan@findingforgivenesspodcast.com to share your story. Until we meet again.